At the edge of a quiet village, surrounded by overgrown hedges and whispering trees, stood a crumbling house. For a long time, it was known as the home of Daniel and Claire Moore. But Daniel, a man once strong and proud, had been reduced to a paralyzed shell after a fall from the second floor during renovations. Since then, the house had darkened, and Daniel was no longer seen. What happened inside that house was more than disappearance. It was erasure. Claire was young, 10 years younger than Daniel, and she married him for stability, not love. When the accident left Daniel in a wheelchair, speech slow and body broken, her patience frayed, the man she married was now helpless, drooling into his shirt, whispering things she no longer cared to hear. And then there was Luke, a worker hired to redo the damaged staircase. Tall, rugged, dangerous. Claire's stolen glances turned into lingering touches, then kisses, then nights spent together under the same roof as her crippled husband. But it wasn't just lust. It became planning. "I could slip something in his meds," Claire whispered one night. Luke's jaw tightened. "Or we make it look like an accident." And so they did. One rainy night, Claire mixed Daniel's sleeping pills into his porridge, 3 times the usual dose. Then Luke wheeled Daniel out to the old basement, under the guise of fresh air and a better view of the storm. Daniel barely stirred as Luke rolled him to the edge of the pit behind the tool shed, a deep trench dug months ago for plumbing work that never finished. Claire stood nearby, holding the flashlight. "You won't feel a thing," Luke muttered. But just before tipping the chair, Daniel's eyes snapped open, bloodshot. A tear rolled down his cheek. He looked at Claire, not Luke, straight at her, and whispered, "You were all I had." Then he was gone, down into the mud and the darkness. The wheelchair was set ablaze, buried under the storm. Nothing left, or so they thought. Weeks passed. Claire and Luke lived like nothing had happened. No one in the village questioned Daniel's absence. He had been invisible for years. But the house changed. At night, they heard wheels creaking in the hallway. Sometimes the bathroom light would flicker on, though no one entered, and the mirror. The old ornate mirror Daniel had inherited from his grandmother. Claire swore she saw him in it. Not a ghostly blur, not a vision. But Daniel, slumped in his chair, staring at her from behind her reflection. Closer every night. Claire grew paranoid. She covered every mirror in the house, burned his old clothes, burned his photo, anything that might hold him back. But the mirror remained. One night she screamed and tore it from the wall. It fell, shattered, slicing open her palm. On the largest shard, written in blood that wasn't hers, "I never left." Luke tried to leave the next day. He never made it past the front gate. They found his body hanging in the woods, tongue swollen, eyes bulging, like he'd seen something before he died. Claire locked herself in the bathroom. Her eyes were sunken, her lips chapped from whispering Daniel's name. In the flickering candlelight, she stared at her reflection. He was there, behind her, not in the mirror, in the room. The wheelchair rolled forward by itself. The air turned cold. Claire screamed, tried to run. Glass shattered. Her screams were muffled by blood. The next morning, villagers forced their way in. They found her in the bathtub, slashed to death with shards of the broken mirror. Her face, unrecognizable, scrawled on the tile wall. I waited in the silence. She never heard me. Now she sees. Outside the house, a wheelchair, charred, still warm. I'm not telling you this for fun. My name's Henry, and I lived next door for 30 years. I heard Daniel calling for help the night he died. I saw Luke sneaking out to the shed. I warned the sheriff, but no one listens to an old man. And I've seen that mirror since. Someone salvaged it. It ended up at a thrift shop. People say it reflects more than just your face. It reflects guilt, sometimes even the dead. And once, I swear, when I looked into it, Daniel looked back. In the end, I just want to tell you that murder may silence a man, but betrayal gives him a voice that echoes far beyond the grave.